Now we will look into the salient features of Indian Constitution. First of all, we will try to understand what it means salient features. These are the most important, or we can say these are the most noticeable features of any constitution, and these are the most significant characteristics of the constitution that defines the constitution of India. And now we will look into it. Here are some of the most significant features of the Indian constitution that tells us about the very soul of the constitution. That is, first of all, Indian constitution is the lengthiest constitution in the world, because India is a very diverse country and we have to take care multiple geographical, ethnic, as well as racial, as well as religious, and different kind of diversities into account. That's why this is the most lengthiest constitution in the world. And second one is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. As you can see that Indian constitution can be amended, and the amendment process is not that easy or not that tough. And that means it is not as easy as the constitution of Britain, and it is not as tough as the constitution of USA. It is somewhat between the rigidity and flexibility, in between the rigidity and flexibility. So this is the blend of both, and such thing is introduced in the constitution by the constitution maker by seeing the peculiar nature of Indian polity, Indian society, etc. And third one is federal system with unitary bias. Federal system means like there is in USA, there are states that having their own different constitution and different supreme court, and they are more autonomous states. And while in unitary system like in China, control of center is much more. But India having the system that is federal in nature, or we can say federal in writing. As we can say in Article 1 of Indian Constitution, it is written that India is the union of states. That shows its federal nature. Either federal word is nowhere written in the constitution, but if we see the entire constitution, it having a bit unitary bias in it. Indian constitution having both the features federal as well as unitary, but it is more tilted towards unitary. Of course, it was according to need of the hour at that time, because India was a newly formed country, and to make India and to keep India united, we have to put this unitary bias in the constitution. Fourth one is parliamentary form of the government. We were more familiar with this system of the government, that is parliamentary form of the government, that we took from the London, or we can say from the Britain, or we can say from Westminster, and that's why here having parliamentary form of government. In contrary to this, there are also having governments like presidential form of government like in USA. That is not here in India. We having parliamentary form of government. This is all because of our historical convenience. And fifth one is synthesis of parliamentary sovereignty and judicial supremacy. In India, there is a system of checks and balances, and neither the parliament nor the executive nor the judiciary is supreme. Constitution is the supreme, and all these three organ of the constitution keeps checks and balances over each other. And then we having integrated and independent judiciary. India having integrated judiciary, that is higher judiciary, that is High Court, Supreme Court, and the lower judiciary, that are district courts, etc. That all comes under one system, that is integrated system. We don't having separate judiciary for the states as well as union or different states like there is in USA. Fundamental rights, and these are there in part 3 of Indian constitution. These are the most prominent and most important features of Indian constitution that we took from the constitution of USA. And in a democracy, these are the most important things that should be there in any constitution. Directive principle of state policies, and this was there in part 4a of Indian constitution, not part 4a, part 4 of Indian constitution. Fundamental duties are in part 4a. As we can see, directive principle of the state policy, these are directions to the states to take care while framing policies, programs, etc. for the people of or the subjects of their union. But these are just directions. These are not justiciable. That means if such directions is not fulfilled, no one can move to the court against government or against policymakers. And these are fundamental duties. These are later entered or later added in the Indian constitution through 42nd constitutional amendment, and these were after the recommendation of Sovereign Singh committee, and added in part 4 of the Indian constitution. In starting these, there were only 10 duties. Later one, through 86th constitutional amendment act, we add one more duty, that becomes K, or we can say 11th duty, secular state. This was written in the constitution itself after 42nd constitutional amendment, while three new words were entered into the preamble of Indian constitution. Secular was one of the word, and secularism is somewhat different from the Western secularism. We took the policy of equidistance from the every religion, not the complete separation of the state and religion. Universal adult franchise, that means everyone that having age 18 plus, and be it of any religion, region, caste, etc., can vote, except those who are barred from voting by proper due process of law. And single citizenship, India offer only one citizenship, that is Indian citizenship, and there is no separate citizenship of the states. And the another point of view is that India don't offer dual citizenship in the way that if someone having citizenship of some other country, then he or she automatically loses the Indian citizenship. Again, emergency provisions, these are certain provisions that also tells about the unitary bias of Indian constitution, and these provisions are there from article 352 to 360. There are mainly three kind of emergencies, that is external emergency, 360 in 360, financial emergency, and constitutional emergency, that is in 356, etc. These are for some extraordinary or extreme conditions, so that the center can took his or their control on the states and in the rest of the country, to keep India united. And in 14 point, special provision for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes. Now economically weaker section is also added. Despite having the principle of equality, we have certain affirmative actions or certain special provision for the downtrodden, or the one who are needy and who are to be supported to get them into the mainstream. So we having such affirmative actions in our constitution itself. And three-tier government, Panchayati Raj and municipalities. This is added in our constitution after 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment act. It was there before these acts also, these amendment also, but after these amendments, these were made constitutional obligation of the states to form such kind of local self governments over there. Bicameral legislature, as in center we having Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha, and that is called bicameral legislature. In some of the states also they are having bicameralism, they are having Vidhan Sabha as well as Vidhan Parishad, that is legislative council over there. Independent constitutional bodies, election commission, UPSC, etc., these are the bodies that are mentioned itself in the constitution under different articles, and these are constitutional bodies, these are formed by the constitution itself. So these are very important organs of our entire system. 18, provision of temporary, transitional, and special provision. There are certain provisions in our constitution that are there to keep the continuity of the governance, etc., over there, like in absence of president, vice president can be can act as a president, etc. There are certain provisions therein for to meet with some extraordinary circumstances. Mixture of the government of laws and convention, because as we can see that in certain examples are there, like speaker, deputy speaker, and etc. With respect to speaker, deputy speaker, etc., we can see that under certain conventions there are the convention are such laws that are not written in anywhere, but that are followed because due to convenience. And Indian constitution, or we can say in Indian system, there is not only the laws that are written over there, but there are certain laws that are not written but are being followed from since past, and due to the convenience they are being followed continuously. And 20th one is emphasis on equality, liberty, fraternity, and justice. These are the words that are itself written in the preamble of Indian constitution. And It focuses on the equality of every person, and liberty and fraternity, and justice itself. These all are things are written there in the constitution, or we can say preamble itself.